NFL starts this Thursday.
Ah,
NCAA is in full effect right now as we speak. Oh, this is the best time of the year.
What's the Thursday game? Is it
KC Bucks Kansas City
KC Baltimore?
And a little Baltimore.
Hey,
NFL, you son of a bitch!
And then you got the Packers
in
and the Eagles,
Brazil.
Packers Eagles on the Friday
in Brazil. How do you expect them to play? How? This is what you wanted to do? Sao Paulo, you're sending them there? This is craziness.
You know, after that, they got to incorporate play calls. Rio!
Well, you know what? Next week, we're going to tell you who the division winners will be and all that fun stuff. But right now, we are going to get into some NFL talk. Dimitri, it's been all over the internet. This is the biggest thing outside of what happened yesterday that was on. In the modern day of NFL, 50-something Super Bowls, there's never been a three-peat winner. And Vegas has the Kansas City Chiefs favored again this year to be that three-peat. Mm-hmm. Does it happen? Does Kansas City three-peat?
So can they? Absolutely.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. There's a dynasty. They got the arsenal. They have everything about them.
Yeah.
What's scary about even Kansas City winning last year is that there were points in the season where we felt they underachieved.
Oh, absolutely.
And they still had the resilience. They're killers. Look, we talk about who are killers. Kansas City is a killer, okay?
Yeah.
The thing is that the AFC has done nothing but get better. Okay. And so there's a couple wild cards for me. I'm going to go on record. I'm going to call it from now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say they don't three-peat.
They don't three-peat.
They don't. And I think when you start looking at the variables of the Baltimore is not a bad team.
They're on my list.
Right? The Baltimore could have even beat them. Right. Okay? All right, okay? Argument there. Great.
Fair enough.
You got the Houstons.
Yeah.
You got the Bengals.
Yeah.
If you got a Burrow
if Chase ever decides to sign, but continue.
Right.
Yeah.
You got the Browns. You know?
Weirdly enough.
Grimy team. You got the Jaguars, a little grimy.
You love them Jaguars.
No, they're bubble teams for me.
I know. I'm just saying. You bring them up as much as you can.
Well, I do because they're. I love the Jaguars.
You love the Jaguars.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And then you got the real wild card. What happens with the Jets?
Yeah. That's the one I have on my list.
That's the one where you look and you say, look, man, like that Jets team is obviously one quarterback away of a splash. We all know it. Least points for. Against. The defense is intact. They got players that want to play there. They got the run game. They got receivers. They got the quarterback. They got the defense. I love the coach.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be hard for anyone to come out of there. The NFC, I think, is a little more predictable.
You know what? As I looked at the Vegas odds as I was waiting for you to arrive again today, it's pretty down the middle again. I mean, a lot of the reason I love the NFL, it's usually there's parity, but Vegas has Kansas City, San Francisco, and the Ravens as your top three contenders to win the Super Bowl, which basically is the same teams that were from last year.
Yeah, I don't see much changing there.
But I'll be honest. But that's what's scary about Kansas City. Last year, a lot of people had them written off. A lot of people thought they weren't even going to make the playoffs at one time.
Yeah.
And then what do? They get in. I'm still a big believer, and I know you guys think I joke a lot, but the Taylor Swift thing was real. I am dead serious where her effect, her play on this or something is a big deal. Travis Kelce isn't maybe the greatest and most dynamic tight end that he used to be before he met her, but he's still catching the ball. Yeah. You know, I heard this one thing this week where I couldn't agree more. You know when two guys, like me and you, if we're playing pickup basketball, you kind of have to know where the other guy is so you can pass them the ball and do it. That's what Mahomes and Kelce have. It's like they don't have a play. They just say, okay, you just run out there and I'm going to find you. Because every single
100%,
time that
100%.
Kelce is open, you can't tell me that was the perfectly drawn up play. And then you can't tell me that Mahomes just knew. No, they just have this they have this commonality and they got this figured out where he's like, hey, you go there and I'll find you there. And if you're not there, well, I'll throw it to somebody else. The big X factor for me right now is Xavier Worthy. He's the guy they got last in this year's draft. This kid runs like a 4.1. He could be their new Tyreek, where we were thinking Tyreek was one of the big answers because he started off so hot last year. You throw this kid into the mix, and then you got all the other little weapons they have in their offense, and their defense is now happy. Jones has got his money. If you remember last year, he sat on the sideline with 2 cell phones. He has to pay for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He does.
This team right now, I'm going to go on record and say this. To be the champ, you got to beat the champ. Woo! And right now, I think I'm going to call KC. I don't see anybody touch it. They've played this game too many times, man. As much as I want Green Bay or Houston or somebody else out of the woodwork, Cincinnati, somebody to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
No one's really, like, Baltimore's the only one that I would say can maybe take them. But when they're playing each other week 1, are we really going to, let's say Baltimore wins that game. Who cares? Like, it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Until we see them in the playoffs. And that's where Baltimore always seems to falter.
Yeah. Like I said, they're killers, right? Like, if you look like San Fran,
yeah.
how many times have they come so
That's
close?
What I'm saying.
They can't. San Fran's, they don't have the finishing touch. Baltimore doesn't have the finishing touch. Kansas City does.
Right.
But it's gonna be tough, man.
It is gonna be tough. It's a tough one.
It's hard because I'd say those bubble teams that we're talking about, and you do got to put the Jets as a bubble team.
100%.
Right? Like you can't.
100%.
You got to see what they do under the rod because Rodgers maybe isn't the answer himself.
Maybe he's not 100%.
Right.
We don't know.
Anyhow, my thing is it just, you know what they're good at, and it's exactly what New England was good at. They bring people in that are no-namers. Mm-hmm. Right? This isn't no neighbors, but they are.
Right. No, you're
But they bring people in.
Yeah.
And these players get such confidence being there that they turn them into superstars.
That's
like
right.
You think of like Pacheco.
Yeah.
Name me one person that looked at him and said, yeah, here's a weapon in the league. No, it wasn't until randomly this guy started putting up crazy stats and fantasy points, and everyone's like, what's going on over there?
That's right.
Saint Hilaire, all these guys that, like, they just put in. Tyreek leaves, no problem.
No problem.
I
agree.
And who just didn't Juju just come back?
They brought him back, and there's a guy that
you see what I'm saying? What's going on there?
Yeah, during the preseason, this guy named Carson Steele. He's a running back. They love him out there as he's further down the depth, but there's something that tells me if you got a late pick and you're bored and you don't know anything, just grab this guy. Put him on the bench. I'm not telling you to play him week 1 because I don't think he's going to get a lot of balls. But watch out for this guy. You'll see what I mean. This guy's got a little something. He's got a little something.
And you know what's funny? You look at the coaching style too, right? Like the Reed, the Harbaugh, the Belichick. I mean, tail end, fine. But you look at these guys and you look at how they run their successful teams. Isn't it incredible? They like weapons.
They love, of course.
Right?
Who doesn't?
Like you see how they.
You need them. You need them in this today.
Exactly.
In today's NFL, it's not run and grind and do great defense. It's all about the weapons, bro.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's assume that Kansas City wins again. That would make it a 3-peat for Patrick Mahomes, 4 overall. Will this now make him the greatest of all time?
No. We're saved by the bell by the Sports Show, playing every week. Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, Sports Show TV, at Sports Show Podcast. Amy, do it. At Sports Show Podcast. Amy can do anything.
She's the best.